The very visionary chairman and MD, founder of Bharat Forge, Baba Kalyani, who really defines India's indigenous defense sector. He's done so much good work there. Mr. Kalyani, I'm glad we pulled you out on a Sunday afternoon, and I'm thankful for your time. It's very, very kind of you to be here. A lot of people will watch for what you say. Rajiv, likewise, thank you very much for joining us. Before I go to Mr. Kalyani, may I ask Rajiv to give me, as President CII, a broad review, broad brushstroke reaction first to this budget, as expansively as you would like to, and then I'll go to Mr. Kalyani next. Rajiv.
Yeah, so Arnab, overall very positive. If I start, at the building blocks level, continuity clearly seen from the earlier budgets, a strong focus on macroeconomic discipline, lot of focus on manufacturing across sectors. So if you look at I'm getting an echo back, Arnab. So a lot of focus on manufacturing across, and they've identified clearly 7 sectors that you want to focus on. So whether it is biopharma, semiconductors, especially a lot for electronics manufacturing, and also for labor-intensive sectors. On infrastructure also, if you actually see the amount of capex that they've allocated, plus the grants, aid and grants given to state government, the increase is almost 20% as compared to what realistically we are going to spend. What the RE is versus the actual growth is almost 20%. Both central capex plus state capex, if you add that. So I think that's very positive. The focus on MSME, especially both on the credit side and creating the growth fund, I think that's been very positive. On the services sector, whether it is tourism, whether it is education, on the IT services side, I think the safe harbor rule for global capability centers will be very positive. Data centers, obviously, I don't think anyone expected that they'll give a
2047,
22-year kind of tax relief on export of services. Also very clear on the transfer pricing there, and also then the benefits that they provided. The customs duty rationalization, whether it's for MROs, whether it's for nuclear power, whether in some areas of electronics manufacturing. So overall, I would say a lot of focus on infrastructure, a lot of focus on manufacturing, SMEs, and also on the services side. So including things like gaming and others, which historically, or visual mediums, historically we haven't seen such a comprehensive sweep. So I would say very positive, and also the numbers that they've assumed in terms of tax revenue growth, expenditure growth, and others are reasonably conservative. So last year, I think the numbers were not achieved, whether it was tax growth or overall expenditure, but they were smart enough to maintain the fiscal deficit very sharp. And I think hopefully this year also we will see the macroeconomic discipline that the government has continued in the past, that being carried through.
In fact, I would call this NDD budget: nuclear, data and defense. I would say the 3 clear areas of focus I find. The government has identified nuclear, which is why basic customs duty for nuclear power projects, all the goods needed exempted till 2035. Right? They've set in motion. So what the government is saying here is that, look here, we are going to be election agnostic. We must have a policy, regardless of who comes to power, India must move in a certain direction. On data, Rajiv, I agree with you, because this tax holiday till 2047 is historic. Basically, Government of India is saying, you want to make us data sovereign, we will help you. You want to make us dependent on data, we will not help you. Now I want to move to defense. Mr. Baba Kalyani, the government has allocated 7.85 lakh crore to the defense sector in the union budget. That's up from 6.81. That is quite significant. I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20%. Yeah. What is this signal? And is there something that we need to look at beyond just the number, in terms of the fine print as well, that's likely to follow?
I think, Arnab, first of all, I have to congratulate the Finance Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, for the continuity and predictability in their reform process and, the whole 2047 landscape that we are looking at. Now, if you look at the defense budget, it's almost 18 to 20% increase in the defense expenditure. We have one new element now in the defense expenditure, which is called emergency procurement. It was there last year, but it has become much larger now. And hopefully it will continue into something called a fast-track procurement process, because they want to reduce the procurement time cycle for defense procurement. And that's the reason why you see this whole increase that you're seeing in defense expenditure. Even the capital expenditure has been increased by almost 25% by 2.35 lakh crores. And, I think whoever is in the defense industry is very thrilled with this, that whole continued push, which was, and no unnecessary surprises that came in the budget. So we are very grateful to Madam Finance Minister, who has delivered the continuity and delivered growth in this area.
Mr. Kalyani has also had, Abhishek, this is very important here, that Mr. Kalyani had led a committee, if I'm not mistaken, which was the Baba Kalyani Committee, which advocated way back in 2018.
Yeah.
Way back, that's, way back in 2018, this is Modi government 1. It said that, move from an export-only model, used available idle capacity. Maybe he can tell us a little bit more on that. Because this budget should make you a very happy man, Mr. Kalyani, because this budget has advocated this intent. And you can perhaps tell us how what you had proposed in 2018 is getting implemented now, because idle capacity is bad. Idle capacity is just a waste. And underutilization of capacity is the worst thing that we can do in today's time. Mr. Kalyani, can you tell us how this budget addresses what you had thought out in 2018?
Well, I'm very happy to read this in the budget document, the SEZ rules, unutilizing excess capacity in SEZ export units. This was a committee set up by Mr. Prabhu when he was the Commerce Minister in 2018. I headed the committee, and there were several other people, including a Commerce Secretary at that time. And we had said that what is the point in having, land, facilities, and all this available in an SEZ if you can't use it for productive purposes? And there is no difference nowadays between SEZs and the general manufacturing, because there are no specific advantages that were there at that time specifically for SEZs. But it took, unfortunately, 8 years to get this going, but I'm glad that at least they made a start. I hope the rules are not very cumbersome in this. I don't know the details of the rules and caveats that they have put. I think this is a movement in the right direction. You're right. India cannot afford to have anything lying idle, any capacity lying idle. We need to improve our capacity utilization for every area of our activity, industrial, business, commerce. And this is one of the things that should help people who are. I'm not in this activity, so I have nothing to do with this.
You had a good role in that. Next question for. Yeah. Let's take the next question for Rajiv from Abhishek, please. Yeah. Abhishek.
My question is, Mr. Memani, you mentioned about the customs duty rationalization aspect. I mean, is it from the political messaging point of view? Do you see a measure of confidence in the manner in which the finance minister has really opened up imports so that ultimately manufacturing is benefited in the country?
Yeah, I would say it's a measure of confidence, and it's also what is required. So where they have made, if you look at the areas where they've made changes, one is in electronics manufacturing, some parts where India is, even to be successful in imports, as far as raw material is concerned and other areas are concerned, I think the duties have to be much more competitive. If you look at nuclear power, I think Arnab also mentioned, how do you make that more impactful and much more competitive? And a lot of it is around simplification. So I think in customs right now, they have talked about, simplifications of rules and everything else is very important. So if I look at the broader customs, it is about making manufacturing more competitive, making exports more competitive, focusing a lot on simplification, and those areas which are of strategic importance to India. How do you ensure that you get power and others and build the new power plants on a more competitive basis so it encourages manufacturing overall?
you were among the pioneers in manufacturing India's first indigenous artillery gun. I want to ask you today, in fact, the finance minister has actually waived off the duty on MRO, I mean manufacturing boost for the Indian aerospace industry. Do you think, one, how do you view this from a policy or a boost point of view or a government point of view? And second, do you think the Indian industry is ready to kind of grab this opportunity and make itself a self-reliant industry in domestic aerospace or aircraft building?
You know, is this a question to me?
Yes, please, it is to you, sir.
Yes.
Okay. No, you're absolutely right. I think we are all very excited with this because this lays out 3 or 4 new large business opportunities for manufacturing industry. In your nuclear power plants, even if it is SMR, is a 5 to 10 year type activity.
Yeah.
Same thing has happened in electronics. You know, we missed the bus in the 80s on the electronics bandwagon. I'm glad we are back on the electronic journey in terms of bringing our economy into this area. And I think with whatever is happening with smartphones and Apple phones, etc., in Bangalore, we are going to be pretty fast in terms of how this is going to move. And obviously, we need components. We don't make all the components here. We used to have in the 80s a lot of component plants. They all got closed down because electronic itself was disappearing from our marketplace and now reappearing again. And it's a very large industrial activity. So it's a very large boost to the Indian economy and Indian manufacturing sector. Similarly, you have also shipping, although it was not specifically mentioned, but there are these 3 or 4 new big opportunities that come up for the manufacturing sector: nuclear power, electronics, shipbuilding, etc., apart from defense.
Yeah. So I think these are lots of opportunities. I thank you, Mr. Kalyani and Rajiv Memani, for your post-budget reactions on Republic. Thank you very much. See you soon again, both of you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Mr.
Arnav.
Kalyani. Thank you.